one.
Hello and welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour, where three coding reprobates get together on a Friday evening and talk to you about ServiceNow development, and we do it with a frosty beverage in hand. Wherever you are in the world, whatever is time zone appropriate, feel free to join along. I'm Dave Slusher. With me are Chuck Tomasi and Josh Nerius. And has it been? I literally cannot remember what we did last week. How long has it been since we've had the quorum? It's been about a month, right?
Oh yeah.
And before that, it was like 4 months.
Yeah, it was a long time.
so
I'm going to make this more of a regular thing.
Yeah, hopefully we're back to. We've had a lot of travel. We're actually having some more upcoming travel. But anyway, let us first get to the introductions. Josh.
Oh man, me first. So I'm Josh Nerius. I'm a developer advocate evangelist. I'm going to use both. See, I'm doing a slow transition here. At ServiceNow in the platform business unit, I work with Dave on developer.servicenow.com, and we do blogs and we do these live streams and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, that's me.
And
I'm pushing buttons today.
Oh, sorry. I need to step.
Hi, I'm Chuck Tomasi. I'm a platform guy. I'm just going to leave it at that. Yeah. Hang out on the community and been at ServiceNow for about 7.5 years.
And I'm Dave Slusher, developer advocate with ServiceNow. Also work with Josh on the platform team. Developer.servicenow.com. Go get a free instance if you don't have one. For the love of all that is holy, why do you not have one? All right. So what we're going to do this week, we're gonna take the Markdown editor that we were working on. I guess that was the last time we were all together. We've got our real-time Markdown editor. It doesn't. Wait. No, we haven't got there. Trust me. I'm giving the agenda. So we're going to take that. We're going to make that a little more functional. But before we do that, let's talk about our beverages.
See how out of practice I am.
Yeah, Chuck, you're just a little too eager there. So
when did this show get a format?
That's a good question.
All right, what are you drinking, Chuck?
I have one of my favorites. This is Four Peaks Kilt Lifter Scottish style ale, locally brewed right here in the Phoenix area.
All right, Josh.
Very nice. So actually, I don't have this very often. I've got a Dogfish Head 90-minute IPA, and I will drink more than half of this.
What's it, like a 9.5?
We won't talk about that.
All right, and I've got a Kinroo Blue Belgian white ale, which, as far as I can tell, actually is from Belgium. It's Belgium. It's got a Belgian address and a Minnesota address, so I don't know if that's the importer. I don't know where it's. I think it's brewed in Belgium. I don't know, but I got it at Aldi's in South Carolina. So there you go.
Very nice.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to drink. Let me go ahead and start sharing my screen, and we will discuss this. We may see some crazy pop-ups. I don't know. I've been trying to clear this. I am now getting pop-ups from all kinds of websites I don't remember ever visiting. So I don't know if this happens to everybody.
Okay.
I'm getting some weird ones. I had some after I went to India before. Some India retailer was popping me up notifications. Now Board Panda, which I don't even know what this is. I've never been to this site.
But I love Board Panda. They have some good content. We use it on our podcast once in a while.
I must have clicked on this somewhere. I've been trying to figure out how to expunge these things for so long. So, all right. So let us get back to this. Is my screen showing, gentlemen?
Yes, we're seeing ourselves.
Okay. Ba-bum. All right. And all right. Do I need to do anything, Josh?
No, you're good. So I can see your screen and us and YouTube and everything. So
okay. All right. Okay. All right. So so here's where we're at now. We've got the Angular Markdown.
Wait a minute. We're still looking at the YouTube control room.
Am I sharing the wrong page?
Maybe.
That could be.
Could be.
Let me do this.
Wrong screen.
Wrong screen. Let's try this again.
That's a little look behind the scenes if anybody's ever curious about what it looks like on the YouTube side.
It's a mess.
All right. Okay.
There we go. This is better.
All righty.
For some reason,
I'm going to need you to big in that font a little bit there, Dave.
All right. So let's get to this.
There we go. Hey,
okay.
It's looking very impressive since we last saw it.
Yeah, I got rid of some of the cruft that was in this thing. So I got rid of some junk in here. So I kind of cleaned up the user interface a little bit. Basically, just to recap from last time, is we took we went to GitHub, we found a JavaScript Markdown previewer. We literally cut and pasted that thing into here, and then started doing the very absolute minimum, and we cut it into here, and we started putting in the absolute minimum level of work we could do to get this kind of service portalized. I don't even think there's any, like right now, there's nothing happening in the server script. So we did just the simplest shim we could possibly do to get this thing up and running. And so what we have at this point is we have, let me show this just as a refresher, is that the way this works is we've got this text area, and the text area provides this, it's saying that the data provider is Markdown. The model is this editor 1. So you could conceivably have multiple difference of these guys happening at the same time. You can define a little bit of configuration in this Markdown editor. You can tell it a little bit of stuff about that. And then basically, because you're saying you're over here defining this div is basically the Markdown viewer. And you're saying the model that feeds the Markdown previewer, which is this thing, is the same model that's the Markdown editor here. So that's the magic that ties these two things together, is the fact that they're both working on the same ng model. Okay, so that's kind of what got us here. And so if we look at this thing, this is live. As we're making changes, we're looking at live Markdown happening.
That's pretty cool.
So, and this is a pretty decent, representation of the Markdown. It's got, and so you can, if you want to, change some of this, like the link color is defined. There's a lot of CSS, and again, this is the literal CSS that we just got from, that we got from the original source from GitHub. So we've done extremely little to this at this point, other than just sheerly getting it into Service Portal. So now
we had some gaps.
Yeah, we've got a fair number of gaps. So first off, being that all this does right now is all this Service Portal widget does is this. It doesn't do anything else.
There's kind of like W3 schools.
Right. So if we come over here, you'll notice at the server script, nothing's happening. We're feeding nothing. We're feeding nothing from the server, and we're saving nothing. We're not persisting this in any way. So let me find.
Dave, did you have a chance to look at the editor buttons?
No, I did not. The MCE style.
Yeah,
buttons.
where you had bold
No, I did not.
Italics.
Yeah, I remember that as a to do from last time, and I did not ever do that.
Okay,
so
I didn't remember if it was last time or about 3 times ago for me. But okay.
Yeah, I did not do that. So let me, if I can find my right window in all these windows that I've got up here, let me find the one that's got the. It's got. Okay, so let me come over here. So here's my studio. What we've got in here is we've got this document in this Markdown editor scoped application that we created. And document really just has a few things. It has text and title. That's really kind of the important part. So we can now look at just tying document to Markdown editor. For convenience sake of just getting this going today, maybe we'll do something like just pass the sysid in the URL parameter or something like that. Or we might just have it, just for right now, we might just have it pick the first one ever. I suppose we could also just do a very simple list widget. So we've got a few different ways we can go with this. To start with, let's just try. I'm just going to go over here and let's do document.
Yeah, we're going to need to maintain some sort of state to say, am I working on a new document that needs to be saved? If so, give it what do we need? And if there's an existing record, where do I store that sysID so that I know that I'm working on the same thing over and over?
Yeah.
So,
sorry.
Go ahead. Go right ahead.
I was just going to say, well, and for incremental progress, what might make sense is to start with a saved record, so we don't have to deal with things like the -1 sysID and other stuff like that.
That's what he's doing now.
That's what I'm doing. What we're going to do, we're going to start is we're going to do we're just going to do a select. We're going to do a query, and the one that pops up, that's the one we're going to work on.
Fair enough.
It's the way we code. Start with the bare bones, get the simple stuff working. Otherwise, you're going to make it too complex, and it's hard to debug.
All right, so we've got just one simple record in there. So now let's get ourselves a server script, and also it would be really helpful if I had any idea what the table name was.
That's the biggest thing I forget too. Is like, what was the scope? What was the name? Did I put a suffix on that?
Well, and the worst is when it's one of those.
Oh, this doesn't expand.
Oh no!
Oh, he has to write it himself. Oh, the humanity.
I have to type the whole thing out like an animal. This is terrible. All right. Really, we're just gonna go real simple here.
Are you gonna stick that in like data.txt, or where are you thinking of putting that?
Let us say data.documents. No, let's just say data document.
Yeah, you're only working on one at a time. Object? Yeah.
Data.document.text title equals get value title. Same thing with text.
Yep.
And we're done. Does that braces match up? Yes. Okay. So we're only working on one document at a time. We're just going to get it. It will come down. Over here on the HTML template, what we want to do in the client script is we want to do is to get it from this data into the editor 1 model. So in here, so this is where that example text is coming from, right? Is that I set it up here.
Okay, so basically if you just replace that.
Yes.
Got it.
Equals C data and
document text.
Oh, yep, you are correct.
And that's why there are 3 of us.
Let's also
3
do
of us drinking.
See.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
All right, and then
edit both of them.
Down here, I don't have anything right now, so let's do.
Need another one of those div tags to make yourself a little editor window.
No, I'm just going to set this up as title. And let us see if this works. What we should do is instead of getting all this, this default markdown when it loads, it should pull in our one record. All right. It should pull this, set this up, and
okay.
There you go.
And it does. Very nice.
Ah.
Very cool.
All right.
I don't know if it was me, I'd put the title on top, but okay. Oh, you did. You did. I was looking down below. Never mind.
Now the title. So.
Yeah. No, leave it. Otherwise, you have it on there twice, and it get confusing.
No, this is not the title.
Document 1. Wasn't that the title?
No, that is not. Let's put this up here.
Oh, that is not the title.
All right, let's do that. And let me go ahead and move this out of there just because I don't like it there.
Ah, there it is. So LCHH, so that's an input box. Got it.
Where is that header coming from? Just this is that actually thing.
Which header?
We just got a leftover. This was just from us fooling around with that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. So at this point,
did you put in that publish checkbox?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I didn't see.
Which also doesn't do anything. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it. Okay. I think maybe that was even left over from our original thing.
Yeah, because what you want is that submit button to save your changes.
All right. So we have a submit button. It exists. It doesn't do anything.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. Hook it up with an on-click.
So now next step is let's come down here and let us everything I ever do when I do these service portal widgety things, I always do the REST API thing. So I'm going to I'm just going to do the opposite for my own.
Are you going to do
something
different? C.server.update?
I'm going to do the update. Yeah.
Ooh.
And this is actually new for me. This is something that I'm the same way. I've always used the scripted REST API thing just because that's what I'm comfortable with. But I know that there's the whole inline thing, which
or the table API works equally well.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
And I'm going to have to actually look this up because I don't remember the syntax. So input. So I'm going to want to. Yeah, I might pull up an example. What I'm going to do over here. So what I want to do in this is an ng click. And let's say c dot. Let's just call it submit. I don't even need the C, do I?
I don't think you do.
I'm just going to do it without for right now. Come over here. We'll create a submit in the scope.
Yeah.
Do we have, while we're doing this, while I'm just typing this out, do we have anything in the chat that we want to?
Nothing on YouTube.
Okay.
All good so far.
Function. What do we want to be passing in? One thing we don't have in here, we absolutely is a sysid.
The sysid.
So let us.
Just make it document.id or document.sysid. There you go.
All right. So then
you like that unique value, get unique value, don't you?
I do. Document dot
data dot document ID.
Data dot document dot ID.
Or .sysid.
All right. So let's say, that's going to be in. No, that's fine because we can get that out of the scope. We've got this other stuff living in the scope. And we got it. Okay. I was thinking for a second that I wasn't passing in the information, but this is enough.
I was going to say, actually, do you even need to in the on click? Or
I don't think you do on the HTML.
Because at this point, you've got the document in the model.
Right. That's true. That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're only working on one at a time.
That's true. Okay. So we'll just do the submit. What we're going to do is server.update. I need
C.server.update, if I remember right.
Server.update. Let's do it
now your server script becomes a little different.
Yes, I'm going to have to key off this. Server, let's do, so let's basically do the same JSON back. Title and data dot document dot title. And let's do text. Data dot document text. And boop, boop, boop.
And so just for my edification, because I'm not, again, I have always done the scripted REST API thing. When you call c.server.update, the way I understand it, this is re-executing the server script, and it's
Correct.
sending that object in, and that shows up as the input
That is correct.
variable.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
So basically, input is the equivalent of data. It's this kind of magic thing that kind of just exists, and it actually exists with one level of remove in that the stuff that you pass in here. So if you pass, X, if you pass a JSON, it's just foo colon bar. You'll have input.foo equals bar. Okay. So this thing.
Okay, got it.
This thing is an object that exists off of input, if I'm remembering this correctly.
Gotcha.
And we'll find out in 1 second. So if input is defined, let's do.
Dave, I think you're going to need c.data on your client script where you have title, text, and sysID.
Okay. So if we're going to do this, let's do, just so it doesn't complain to me, equals, why am I typing that again when I have that right there?
And theoretically, if you had multiple c.server.updates, one to do an insert or one to do a save or one to do whatever, you could pass in some sort of action and then say if input.action is save, if input.action is insert, and you could have multiples of these parsing them apart.
And I would argue that at that point, if you've got that much complexity, you should put it in a scripted REST API.
I was going to say same thing.
Set value. Title.
Oh, that starts to sound like some old PHP that I wrote 15 years ago.
Input dot.
You kids are funny.
Input. No, I don't want that. I just want input title.
Yep.
Ah, that makes sense.
Text and text. Update. Not update. So that theoretically should persist that.
It should, but if you've already got it in your input stuff, you could have transfer the input stuff back to the data stuff and then have an else to go query it. Because right now it's going to say, I'm going to save, I'm going to retrieve. And it could get it. I don't know. That sort of rubs me the wrong way for whatever reason.
All right. Tell you what, let's do it to test for functionality and then we can factor it. How about that?
Optimize later.
Yes. It is hokey because we're basically querying for the same thing that we
Exactly.
we're querying to refill data that we've got.
But let's find out.
Updated text. Let's do something. Style it somehow. There we are. All right. And it's one of my. Oh, we got to save because I have never saved that.
Oh, yeah.
Save and then let's submit.
Okay. So pull the original text from the record. Make our updates.
Make an edit. Let's
and
submit.
hit submit. We're gonna have to color that button. It's too hard to see. Uh-oh.
That looks good. No, that's good. That's what we want.
Oh yeah, it's a
That's exactly
thing.
because we're in the
Okay.
Markdown scope, and this is the first time. This is saying that we actually did execute set value and update.
So let's go see the backend record.
Let's check this out. Ooh,
Huh.
that ain't right.
I see why.
I know.
There's
Yeah.
no query.
Yes. No. You didn't get the right record.
Oh, I didn't get the record. Okay.
It's the minor details.
Just pick some random thing and put it in there.
Okay. update.
It's that third piece of information we've been dragging around.
How about that?
That looks good.
Let's try that.
Oh yeah, and somebody's ahead of us. They mentioned in the live chat.
Nah, you got us.
Unfortunately, I can't read Cyrillic, so I can't pronounce his name or her name.
All right. Well, let's see what we got over here. Still wrong.
Oh, you know why? It's because when you're loading the record, it's just getting the first one. And then I think you might want to delete the 2 bad ones and try again.
Oh, okay.
He's right.
All right, let's do that.
That's why there's 3 of us.
I might still, I don't know if this is the whole story, but I think it's part of it.
I want to write all my apps like this with 2 other people sitting there watching. It goes so much faster. You're missing a dot.
That is pair programming. All right.
What is pair programming when it's 3?
Try programming.
Trio programming.
It gives a whole new meaning to try catch, doesn't it?
Still not working. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to
horse feathers.
Let's do this.
Sys-ID. I'm looking. Did we have a typo or a case problem somewhere? Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Make sure this thing came through. Because all 3 parts look like they're unidentified.
All right. So
it's clearly triggering the server script because it's doing the update. But the variables themselves have been lost in translation somewhere.
Sys-ID equals undefined. So I might be doing the syntax.
So let's go back to the
input.
Yeah, I'm curious what the input object is. And clearly it's getting in there. There's something in input because it's actually inside the if block. But
right, but it could be a null object.
Somewhere I recently saw that you could control right-click or somehow right-click on a widget and see or log the scope data. I don't know if that includes the input, though, or if that even works in this context.
You want to do a console.log on the client script? Start inspecting the old-fashioned way?
Hold on 1 second. Action. I'm actually pulling in some example code that I was just looking at earlier today.
Here's one I baked an hour ago.
This is actually something that Josh will recognize this.
I do recognize it.
This is, I guess we don't need subterfuge. There's a custom widget course will go up on the developer portal. I don't know, maybe Monday, maybe today. I don't know.
It's coming soon.
Very, very soon. But so this is some of the information from that. So I'm just looking to make sure that I've got
some broadcast and on stuff going on.
Oh yeah,
you got inner widget communications.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is doing in this one that we're looking at. It does a C server get, and it's passing this JSON, and I'm doing a C server update and passing the JSON. And they're dereferencing it up here. Input action equals new note. Input action equals new note. So how is it that I'm not? Okay, so let's do this. Let us just verify that I get anything.
There you go.
Let's walk this back to figure out exactly where in here we're dropping the ball. So we'll do this.
Still undefined. So what if you do a JSON.stringify on that input? So do, instead of info message on input.sysID, do an info message on the stringified version of input.
All right, let's do that. SysID, well, it's there. So I am document Wait, huh?
What?
Where's document coming from? I don't understand.
The scary thing is I have the answer in here somewhere.
That is really weird.
Because we don't define it. So we're seeing this is the JSON object we're defining, but it is the second half of this document object.
Is there something just called document that's part of this and its happenstance?
I wonder, is it some sort of automagic based on the fact that we're creating data document over here? Gentlemen, I'm going to do, well, I don't want to I don't have to do everything different. I was just going to change this to anything different and see if it changes.
Yeah, just change data.document to data.bob. I don't know, whatever. Foo works too.
Let's just change it all the way through. And let's see if that changes to foo. So this is how actually now we're on a mission to figure out where in the heck the document comes from. And over here we've got, I don't know that we have a document anywhere. Do we?
I don't think so. I think you're good over there.
We have already, up here. We got to do it up here.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's the glue in here. All right, so if we do this and we resubmit, we may have missed one. Look at that. I didn't know that happened.
I still don't understand it though. How does that makes no sense to me.
That the input automatically becomes the thing we're hanging off of the data object. All right, we need to write this down as a research topic because I don't know why this works this way. But now we know what's happening. So now we know where to look. So I'm going to change everything back to document because I don't like it as foo. Luckily, foo is very easy to find. Do we have one down here? Yes. And then we didn't have to do anything over there. And this should all be back to fixed.
So is that I'm still confused. Is it by reference that it's doing that?
When we changed the main container dangling under data to foo,
right,
everything changed.
Right.
So I'm not sure. I'll have to do some experimentation to figure out where.
How is that being inferred? Because when you do the update, we're not passing in a structure called document. You're just passing in a structure called
nothing. It's just a structure with 3 properties.
Right. I expected the top level field. I expected input to have
input.title, input.text, but it's actually input.document.title text. Were those correct? I mean, were the values that we saw in the alert box correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Those are the values we thought. So let's just go ahead and.
Interesting.
Next time on Live Coding Happy Hour, we might have an answer.
So this is this is.
That's why we do it different way, so we can learn.
Well, that is a big portion of why I didn't just do it the same old way that we always do it, because I would never run across this. I would have never seen this otherwise. All right, so let's do it this way. Let me go back and delete any dangling bad records that I have. All right, back over here. Nope. Doesn't really matter what we do. I keep confusing myself between the save and the submit. All right, so we got that.
That's this ID.
Did we come over?
Where was the? I didn't see the underscore edit in there.
Document 1, text, document 1. Actually, I don't. Yeah, you're right.
Maybe we need to set it in the scope.submit that way. There's like an inherited one.
See data. I wonder if what we're doing here. So we've set up the model. We've set up the model as editor 1. We're in nowhere. We're not communicating back. This is what we don't want. We want this to be editor 1.
Right.
That's what came in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And in fact, we also don't want that. We're just sending it the same thing back. What we want is
Well,
SysID should be saying anything at this point.
Right. So,
but because of two-way data binding, I would have thought that they would be the same thing.
I'm going to think that they probably were bound by value. I don't know. So c.data.sysid. All right. Well, so let's do that. Let's come over here. Well, so for when we say the editor, you're saying because you would expect that this editor is the same pointer, basically.
Right.
You need to address it as $scope.editor1.
Oh, down below. Yeah, I think that might be true.
And would you also not? We're still going to have to find the SysID from somewhere. It's not directly under data.
I think it. Yeah, it will. The problem. These things are all there. What it is that is what came down from here. What we weren't doing was communicating back our edited.
Okay.
So I believe that this will be. So
I'm still surprised that SysID didn't show up as anything. So I don't think changing that there is going to get us the right value.
It did.
It still may have to be c.data.document.sysid, which should be okay because the sysid will never change.
Well, let's try this. Let's try this.
Fair enough.
All right. So.
Yeah. It's still showing you the same.
Still no edit.
Yeah.
So input. I'm wondering, let's make sure that we're not doing something weird with input inside this client script.
I don't think we are. This is where I tend to go look at somebody else's example. Now that we have a firm understanding of almost nothing.
I'm not seeing. Oh, so. See, let's try something a little different. What happens if we do the get method here? There may be a difference in this. I think there might be a difference between get and update that is subtle, and I'm not grokking. Don't hit the save, hit the submit. Oh, well, that's different because.
Oh, right.
I think the update. Oh, shoot. I think the update. Okay, all right. Let's pull up some API docs. For goodness sake.
When in doubt.
Developer.servicenow.com.
Ding.
And are those listed in the service portal? Oh, goodness. Where are the service portal APIs listed? And client side?
I thought they used to be on GitHub, but they've been moved. There we go.
But there's
going to be one called, what is it? Glide SP. Except no, I'm sorry, that's the $SP. That's server side. That's not what I'm thinking of.
All right.
What if you threw all of $scope in there? Oh, this method is similar to server.update, but includes a $scope parameter that defines a scope to pass over.
All right.
Oh, so this is interesting. So does that basically mean then that you're not actually passing all the data back? You're basically relying on the scope that's already been established. So you're saying, well, we've mutated the scope and now it's got the values that we want, and now we're going to...
Yeah, I think there's an implicit thing that we're doing here that... Oh, well, for one thing, when we come over here, I think, let's get rid of the document. Let's do this right quick. That's step one, is I realize that if we're doing this, I think when we do the get, we're oh, look at that.
Hey.
Huh.
So when we do this get,
did it save it into the backend record? Is what I'm wondering.
Well, let us check.
Saved a new record.
Let's get rid of both. Let's get rid of this one. Let's see. We did a new one or the same one, because we had a couple bad tests. So let's see. And I'm just going to go ahead and reload this whole thing just to make sure we get a fresh version of this. All right. We submit it. We see what we expect. Now, do we have one record or two over here?
I think there might be two because there's no sysid showing up in that info message.
Right.
Somewhere that's not showing up. Not sure why.
Title. So text is going in, title's going in, but sysid is not in our server.get. That is weird.
Yeah, there's not even an empty property. Check your console log.
Let's try it one more time. Let's see.
Nada.
Not saying anything in there.
Okay, we're not making somebody mad. That's good news.
All right. I'm so clearly when we said that I'm not I don't do it this way very often. Clearly, I don't actually understand the flow as well as I thought I did. So the difference between the update and the get and like what the implicit data structures are, I'm apparently not grasping correctly.
So here's what I would usually do when I hit this point is go into existing out of box widgets and let's look for one that has c.server.update in it. Because I'm really curious now.
Yep.
It's really hard. Now.
It's not that hard. We're making this.
This is weird.
And now I've lost. Where were we? Okay. All right. Let's find us a widget. Do I have? Let's add the client controller. Let's just do. All right, let's find. Where's one that we like? How about form? Just widget form.
Server.update. So there's a bunch of them out there. Oh, there it is.
Is it the only? That did not. That query did not do what I thought it was doing.
You got a comment on Facebook that said maybe it's c.data.document.sysid.
c.data.comment
or
Man,
document.
It's too close. I can't. All right, it's too close to the bottom. All right, so they say c dot
in the client script instead of c.data.sysid, which I'm really surprised it wouldn't throw an error.
Oh yeah. I took one thing too far out, maybe. Okay.
Yeah, it does seem weird that it would succeed at that point, not just have an sysid in the structure.
Right. I was expecting to see it undefined, but maybe undefined means it doesn't get a property.
Let's see what happens here.
Ding, 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 ding.
Damn. See, that's another thing I would not have predicted.
Well, it's in C.data that way.
But I'm saying the fact that sysid with like a null value.
Oh, yeah, it means you don't get the property at all.
Completely took it out of the input object.
Yeah, it wasn't null. It was undefined, which two different things. But yeah.
Okay. So let's come back over here. All right. Now let's get our bad documents out again. So I think we're doing what we think we're doing now.
I think we're trying to actually update the same document.
Yeah, I'm still a little worried that we're using get though.
Okay, well, so
right.
I mean,
so
let's
go back. Let's go back in. Okay, well, let's do this one time.
try with get. We know something happens.
Fair enough.
This feels like the way I was doing the Amazon dash button stuff. What? It worked kind of, sort of.
All right, so that's what we expect.
That looks good. Yeah.
We have the same.
We have?
Two records still.
That.
Still
one of them.
Input.sysid. Huh.
Maybe it does.
All right, so I'm doing something stupid in
an update. Maybe we do need to change it to an update for that reason exactly.
It could be. All right, so we'll go back to this.
Saved. Oh, whoa! I got edit 2 back.
Wrong save button. That was wrong.
That's right. I didn't submit.
Nice.
I saved. All right, so we're back to the document.
Okay.
Oh, I see why too.
Edit 2 is coming up in the text. There's no edit 3. To the green alert box.
So what we're doing is we're passing in. I think the deal is I think we're passing the data object just right back to it, aren't we?
Yes.
We are passing our own data object.
No, because we should have done a requery and got that record again. Or did
so server.update. All right, let's find again. This is let's go back to the widget. So we find somebody using server.update. Somewhere in the world, Nathan Firth is cursing at us.
As are probably about a dozen other people.
Someone in the chat might be giving us the right answer at some point.
Nothing so far. So I feel a little bit better about that we don't have people yelling at us like, hey, this is the obvious solution.
Like how obvious it is. Yeah. All right.
I have that lab from Knowledge around here somewhere. I just can't find it.
Let's see if I can find anything. Server update. So see, server update is not passing any parameters.
Right. Interesting. So if input data.message equals input.someText. So it's almost like you're saying that. So the way I'm interpreting this is that it's saying take the current state of the model and
pass
call whatever's in the input. Right. Yeah. So if
take out the parameters then, or the object from c.server.update, and let's just see what input looks like when we get it there.
I think what's going to happen, I can tell you, I think, is going to look identical.
Okay.
Right? It's an identical thing. I'm going to take all this out. We're going to see. Oh, God, dog it. I did it again.
Okay.
See, no change. See exactly.
Yeah, no change there.
So what it's doing is it's passing. So this is why when we were confused why we were getting document, it is basically passing back the same model except as input. So I think what we need to do down here.
Could it possibly be that we have data.document before our input, or if input? Does that look suspicious to you?
You think we're
clobbering it?
We're either clobbering it or we're doing something wacky with it.
Let's try that.
Not that it's used right there, but is it getting in our way?
Could be.
Let us see.
Other one. No. Okay. So input clearly has a document object inside it.
So let's try this. See. So scope. C.data.
Are we wait? Are we looking at this all goofy? We know no, because I'm sorry. The add info message is still telling us that input has the wrong text in it, but we're referencing it as input.sysid. We really want to be doing input.document.sysid, correct? For our get and our two set values.
Yeah, but
they're
we
still
got two,
wrong. But
we've got two problems here. One of which is that we're not passing up what we think we're passing up.
Right.
So I'm going to try this. Where I'm going to, before we do this, I'm going to explicitly set. I'm just going to set C data. I'm going to do this. I'm going to set these guys back to.
We're so close. So close.
And then I'm going to do this. Nope. Equals scope.title.
What is scope.title? Oh, you already copied that over.
Then we're just going to call. All right. So.
Okay.
All I'm doing is saying, okay, this whatever's in those models, like that editor model, we're going to set this back and we're going to call update. Let's see if we see our
logical updated data.
And I'm going to go ahead and fix the other thing while we're at it, which is the document here. So we know none of those will work. That's what we do. All right.
All right. Show me the proper property value. Sounds like a realtor.
That
yeah.
Right. In fact, go back into our documents.
Kill that one.
Delete that one.
Just to make sure we're not
one and only one.
Reinfecting.
We have one and only one.
This is example text.
Let's do this.
We have such a robust testing procedure. Hey.
Oh.
And for final verification.
Come over to here.
You're killing me. Just hit the all. Click all. It'll do the same thing. In the breadcrumb.
All right. So that is what we expected.
Yay. An hour later, we have a save button.
Sounds about right. It's usually how these things go. So interesting. So
you have to repopulate or at least re-update. Yeah, it's curious because I would have thought the bidirectional, like Josh said, the bidirectional model binding thingy would have caught that.
Yeah, there might be some magic that's missing in here to make that happen. This is where I'm sort of kind of myself to always use the APIs because I actually just like them better.
They're a little easier to test in my mind.
Well, I mean, that really does. I mean, you got two schools of thought. And one of the things that I like about it is the APIs, for one thing, they're just closer to the way I think. I spend a lot of time in API world, so that's not like a different set of stuff I have to think about. You know what I mean? And then it's just very explicit. And in fact, you can, call the things, you can watch the flow through the APIs and et cetera, et cetera. So I kind of like it better, honestly. Certainly people who are more familiar with this pattern, I think we're crazy. We like the APIs better. So I think at this point,
if you've got multiple actions, I can see the API being a little cleaner way to do this because your server script is going to get all banged up full of server-side code, which is kind of nice if you're making a standalone self-contained widget. You don't have to send along the scripted REST API and the widget. But after a while, I think it's going to be hard to get in here and go, well, what piece are we exactly working on here today?
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other thing too is depending on, so in this case, we're just doing a simple record save, but if there was more complex logic going on, or if we
with
were
actions and
places,
yeah.
And then if you want to go and replicate this elsewhere, if you want to replicate similar functionality on the UI, obviously we're not going to embed a Markdown editor in the main UI, but depending on the nature of what you're doing, you're going to want to do that same thing maybe outside a service portal. So if you put it all in the server script, your logic is stuck in the server script. It's kind of like putting all your code in a business rule.
Right.
Yeah, I just sort of like, I really just like the explicit nature of it. I mean, that's really one of the things I've said on here so many times is I just like, I've gotten to the point where, as particularly, you know, I've told stories of my days as a Perl programmer, right? And, you know, in Perl, there's this culture of like being happy how obscure the code you're writing is, right? Do you remember the Perl one-liner contests?
Oh, yes.
Stuff like that. You are literally patting yourself on the back for how kind of obfuscated and bizarre you can write this code. And I'm, even if it's like takes a little bit of a runtime hit, or I'm just like most explicit, most readable code is kind of like where I'm falling lately.
Well, and really with modern languages and modern compilers, in almost every case, optimizers are going to take care of this. There's almost nothing that you can do, I think. I mean, okay, I should take a step back from that. It's not impossible to create code that's slower, but I don't think there's going to be any appreciable performance difference, and it's a lot easier to understand.
Well, you get those differences when you start iterating over hundreds of thousands and millions of records. This isn't such a case.
Well, and even in those cases, you know, again, most modern interpreters are going to handle that, and they're gonna, you know, basically optimize it much better than the developer ever could, unless it's just a bad algorithm, and that's another case entirely. But.
All right. So while we were talking, I just went ahead and did the, did this. So now what we should do, we should save this. We should see our. Oh God, damn it.
Join us next week as we get a file save as button.
Yeah, what I need to do is put what I need to do is style the submit button in blinking red.
Danger.
All right, submit that. See that?
Yeah.
Come over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Save the title, save the doc, did everything. Okay. So that was way more arduous than I was expecting it to be, but there you go. That was not actually, I figured that was going to be 10 minutes of this and then we would do some more stuff, but there you go. So so that was, now we understand a little bit like there's a little bit of that magic in there about the input and the data document that I have to do a little bit more research on because I'm not that versed in it. You know, as I disclaimed up at the very top, is that not a thing I do very often, like I said, just because it's not the pattern. It's not the pattern that springs readily to my mind, but, you know, all these things are equally available and work. So there you go. We actually have a thing now that is saving and doing some stuff. We learned a little. It was kind of like an after-school special. We learned a little bit something about these data structures that I took for granted, and I thought I knew how they worked, and clearly I don't. So that's that points to me for a research topic for myself. So, gentlemen, what do you think about your beers?
Go ahead, Josh.
All right. So the Dogfish Head 90-minute IPA. I've had this before. This is a solid 4.5. It's good stuff.
Wow. Good stuff. I'm going with the Kilt Lifter as a solid 4.0.
So Scotch ale, what's the difference? Is the Scotch ale the Scotch style ale, or is it the one that's aged in Scotch barrels?
No, this is a Scottish style ale. If it was aged in a barrel, it would have a much higher ABV than 6.
Is that the difference between Scottish and Scotch ales? I've never cracked the code on exactly what the nomenclature is because I've had both kinds and I'm never exactly sure which one I'm getting.
That's a good point. I don't know enough about the terminology to tell you authoritatively which is which and if there is a difference or people are misusing the term.
Well, see,
and where does
yeah,
where does Wee Heavy track into there somewhere?
Yeah, I'm not sure. So anyway, The Kinru Blue, I actually like this. This is pretty nice. I'm going to give this a 4.0. So
very nice, very nice.
Good beers all around.
You notice I've had a lot of like fairly lowish ratings, partly like the ones that have been in my fridge for a year and a half. So it's nice to have one that I kind of enjoyed. So, all right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you everyone in the chat. Do we have any lingering comments?
Just a couple of things. So a couple of comments just kind of helping us through the process of figuring out the update. We're all good there. Somebody asked us if we use ServiceNow to track our beers and ratings, and which is actually a fun idea, but we actually use Untapped.
A REST API out to Untapped.
Now, there API doesn't Untapped have a REST API if you're a paid member?
They have a REST API, but they kind of put it behind some requirements, so we'd have to convince them to let us use it. But you know, that could be possible.
We'd have to be talking to some dude. We have to pick up the phone and talk to somebody at Untapped. We can't just. It's not like
scan the UPC code instead of searching for the name.
There you go.
Worth looking into.
That should actually already be in the Untapped app. Just open it's on your phone, right? So just scan just hold it up to the camera and have it already populate it for you.
Take a picture of you take a picture of the label, but that comes after you find the beer.
So, all right. Okay. So with that,
how about where we'll be appearing in the next few weeks?
Yes, Chuck, where are you going to be like in the next 2 weeks?
2 weeks on Tuesday the 7th, I'll be in Sacramento. They're having a brand new developer meetup kickoff, Sacramento, California. The following week on the 14th, I think it's the 14th and 15th. The 14th, I'll be in Tampa Bay. I believe that's another new developer meetup. I want to keep saying user group for whatever reason. The Tampa Bay on the 14th, Miami on the 15th, and then a little bit of a break until we get into December. And Josh, how about you?
Very nice. I don't have quite a crazy schedule, but I will be in Denver next Tuesday and Seattle next Wednesday. So I'm going to be talking about IoT. I'm actually bringing out the device from the Criticon Labs, and we're going to play around with it and do some fun stuff.
And I am going to be in Boston Tuesday the 7th, and then I'm going to be in Minneapolis the Tuesday the 14th. And so I'll be talking about some of the upcoming features in Kingston. So
very cool. Very cool.
There you go. And I hope we hope that if you're watching, that you can come to one of these, and if not, start a developer meetup in your area, and maybe we'll come to that too sometime in the future.
Sounds like a good plan.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. And we will catch everyone next time.
Have a good weekend.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.